In this video, we're going to give you a full geopolitical breakdown of the latest news coming from U.S. foreign policy. We're going to get into Saudi Arabia, Israel, the Panama Papers, Hillary Clinton, Vladimir Putin, and of course the current situation happening right now with ISIS inside of Syria. Of course, you will not hear these truths anywhere in the American mainstream media, since they are meant to utterly lie to you of exactly what's happening in this world. And that's why we're going to tell you the truth on this YouTube channel with all the sources in the description below so you could fact check yourself. Just earlier this week, the US mainstream media has been going on and talking about how ISIS is on the ropes and how their self-declared capital inside of Raqqa is declaring a state of emergency. Now, Barbara Starr, the CNN Pentagon correspondent, went on national television while she was inside of the Pentagon and pretty much regurgitated what the Pentagon told her to say. This is an outright lie. It is straight up propaganda. The truth is 180 degrees away from everything that has been told to us this week by the American mainstream media, and we're going to get into that right now. Just a few days ago, Israel, our strongest ally in the region, has violated the UN Charter and has attacked Hezbollah inside of Damascus. And Hezbollah, who has been fighting along with the Syrian government against ISIS, was the one who are going against these radical Islamic terrorists in the region. Israel has been helping these radical Islamic terrorists, these rebel groups, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Al-Nusra, by bombing the forces that are going against them in the region. This is nothing new. Israel has been actually doing this for the past 5 years because this has been the plan of Saudi Arabia, Israel, and the United States to push the rebel groups into power in order to get rid of the Syrian government and get rid of the Syrian president Bashar al-Assad. This has been happening for a while. This is just the latest incident that we are talking about now, only proving the direct support of U.S. allies and Israel and Saudi Arabia financing radical Islamic terrorists. Israel has even set up a field hospital near the border with Syria in order to treat injured militants coming from the battlefield. Those rebel groups, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Al-Nusra, all connected to radical Islamic terrorism, have been getting help from Israel, and that's why Israel has never been attacked by ISIS in the region. These rebel groups, which the Council on Foreign Relations even calls, quote, Al-Qaeda worth befriending, is right now on a massacre spree, murdering children and women in Zara, the town near Aleppo. These are the rebel groups that have been pushed and supported by Western powers who are committing war crimes in the regions. The Russians have even come to the United Nations and they're saying, well, tell us which Syrian rebel groups are terrorists and which ones are not, because we're having a hard time knowing who's who. Russians have been helping the Syrian government, working with Bashar al-Assad to get rid of these radical Islamic terrorists, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Al-Nusra in the region, and the United States is condemning them for doing this. Meanwhile, these rebel groups are knowingly bombing schools and hospitals in the town of Aleppo right now. They are torturing soldiers, murdering them, executing them. They are committing horrible war crimes, and this is all financed by you. If you're sitting in the United States or in the United Kingdom, you are helping finance this with your tax dollars, because official groups like the White Helmets, which are non-government organizations, NGOs, who have been given $23 million of U.S. tax-paying dollars, have been actively working, fighting alongside of Al-Qaeda, as exposed by the Syrian girl, which I definitely do recommend you check out if you want a greater understanding of what's happening inside of Syria. Her links will be in the description below for you to fact check and verify everything that she is saying. But there's clear, irrefutable video, clear, irrefutable proof that the rebel groups that the United States, the United Kingdom, and the Western governments have been financing are committing all of these horrible atrocities inside of Syria, inside of the Middle East, utterly creating the worst human hell for the civilians living in that region. The massacres, the war crimes have been so bad that John Kerry has even come out and condemned them. But the bigger truth is, it is because of the United States that these war crimes are being committed. If John Kerry told the truth, he would have said, well, we have the receipts for all of this. We kind of made it happen. We could condemn it. We are condemning it. But obviously, the truth will never be told to you by the American mainstream media. The truth will never be told to you by the American government. The truth is a lot deeper, and that's why even new revelations are coming out from the Panama Papers data leak showing how the king of Saudi Arabia was actually sponsoring the prime minister of Israel's prime minister campaign inside of Israel. The two work together. Obviously, Saudi Arabia is one of the leading experts of Islamic extremism in the region. They have been financing Al-Qaeda. They have been financing ISIS in the region. They are also financing Israel, which is helping bomb anyone fighting against these radical Islamic terrorists. And of course, Hillary Clinton, when she was Secretary of State, was ultimately doing the bidding of Saudi Arabia, doing the bidding of this insane Western policy that has not been exposed to the American people. Hillary Clinton has actually received over $100 million from Saudi Arabia, and you see this coalition with the United States, with Saudi Arabia, with Israel, causing this outright massacre, this outright murder, this outright human suffering because of their geopolitical goals that they are working on cohesively together, that is being lied to you about on the American mainstream media. Of course, Vladimir Putin knows this, and he has been making comments against Hillary Clinton in just the last few days because he knows when Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State, she was financing and supporting the Islamic terrorists inside of Libya and inside of Syria. He knows that the game is in and that they all support and work with each other for these greater geopolitical goals, ultimately financing our very worst enemy, radical Islamic terrorism. And that's why many geopolitical experts are saying if Hillary Clinton is elected president, it is going to be a full all-out war between Russia and the United States. Vladimir Putin, when talking about Hillary Clinton, said, quote, "When people push boundaries too far, it's not because they are strong, but because they are weak. But maybe weakness is not the worst quality for a woman," when directly talking about Hillary Rodham Clinton. He knows the game. The boundaries have been set. Israel, Saudi Arabia, the United States have been financing all these atrocities, have been financing the bombing of schools, of hospitals, of executions, of murders, of all these horrible acts in order to push their greater geopolitical agenda. That is, of course, being denied to you by the American mainstream media. You will only hear these truths here. All the sources will be in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe and support us on Patreon with just $1 a month, sustaining and keeping our operations independent and free for you and by you. Subscribe. We're going to have a lot more important geopolitical news, giving you a full perspective of exactly what's happening, battling the mainstream media corporate lies here on youtube.com/we are change.